Legion of Dreams is an ode to a 5-year-old murdered by her husband, a 40-year-old sodden pig who didn't know the difference between a vagina and a hosepipe. The poetry is called A Legion of Dreams. It's about little children. I had a dream. 'Twas not of kings, but of fancy toys and many things, not of faggoty old men and not of boys, but bangles and rings. Where soldiers walked amongst the dead, dressed in white and stalked, made dread those who abused the child they wed. They dressed in blue with snow-white shoes and saved the children from a bloody death. Of an innocent bride, a 5-year-old child, whose tears and pleas to the deaf ears of a rapist husband, married for his wealth. In Yemen, the poor, they stink. In Syria, they are on the brink of 11-year-olds who want to think, who fight for learning and for their rights, but Muhammad, the manic, put to flight the sanctity of women and the children and their plight. How valiant do the little ones fight. After all, it is their right. Did the police put the perverted porcine behind bars and only watched the little child in her grave were the lonely stars above who sat the God, sending this message through his Lord of love and never hate, and a message the children, they cannot wait. There is no one here to right a wrong, a soul or voice that writes this song. The US with its legion of soldiers, can they right the wrong of the forgers of terror in their rousing wake, who rape the children that the parents forsake? For want of cash, what did they not do but barter their children to an old canine screw, whose brain lies inside his skin, whose wanton lust and shameless sin will kill the next child that he would win. Instead of taking from the earthen soil 10,000 barrels of crude black oil, unleash the souls of children from their toil by waging war and death to those who foil the purity of children's dreams and put them in a coil. As a child, and then just 5, I played with toys and still alive, for with freedom and knowledge I did wed. If I was in Yemen, Syria or Africa, I would never have lived this far. I would instead be 5 years but dead. I appeal to all those who can but spare a dime for the children who are living afar. You will never know what sorrow they have, and a cent could possibly We give them a toy, not a grave. With you, with your wealth, could help a soul to get away from the rotten hole that the men were the Paul sign. Man who's mad has cursed them with a religion that is horribly bad, that has been misconstrued and has been written and translated without any reckoning. The minds of depraved men that we see today kill and whore their lives away. It is with pain and sorrow that I think of that little girl who had nobody to turn to but the world. And now this message comes to you from my heart to give them all a chance to start a life away from horrid men who will make them all dead or insane. You may think that the women do not want their rights, but they don't have a voice to fight. They are kept within a snare, a harem of madness that's a perverse snare. The countries that are ridden and sodden by the words of a manic, depraved, forgotten. Depraved, forgotten. I would wish that you, with all your wealth, think of the world and of its health, to do the word of what was told by the Savior of the world. Behold, he says, let anyone who touches a child and sins have a millstone round his neck and thrown into bins. Not the bins for oil, but the bins for men, the shameless cads, the perverts, those insane, all ruled by a thoughtless law which reeks of gluttony, lust, envy, and sheiks. The Legion of Dreams is but a vision of nothing but thoughts and malnutrition of children in countries that are very far. I would never want to be inside.
An 11-year-old girl in Yemen that's being forced to marry a 30-year-old pedophile. She's trying to escape to another country so she doesn't have to marry this man. In the video, the little girl says she would rather die than marry this man. Now, what really blows me away is that she's being forced to marry this man by her own parents. What parent in their right mind would be okay with their 11-year-old daughter marrying a 30-year-old man? This just goes to show how insane a lot of these third world countries are, and just how insane Sharia law is. I also did a video about Sharia law and how women are treated in these Sharia law ran countries. They're treated worse than animals. They can't choose, and they don't have their own civil rights. And that's the biggest problem with a lot of these third world countries. I think the international community needs to step up to the plate and force a lot of these countries to stop forcing these children to marry grown men. Any man that wants to marry a child, you are a pedophile. There was a case a couple years ago where a 7-year-old girl was forced to marry a 40-year-old man, and the 40-year-old man had sex with the girl and he killed her because her body at such a young age can't handle being sexually raped and assaulted like that. So the little girl died. And I just think this is the reason why this girl doesn't want to marry this man, because she's not prepared to be having sex. She's not prepared to be living that type of lifestyle. And when I see a lot of these religious people who hide behind their religion, they use evil to hide behind their religion, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. That's why every country should have a separation between church and state. Nobody should use their religion for evil. And that's what a lot of these people are doing. That's what a lot of these third world countries and a lot of these Sharia law-ran countries are doing. What blows me away is that there's no outrage from a lot of people in America. There's no outrage from a lot of people in Europe, because since it doesn't affect us, we just completely ignore it. This bothers me as a human being when I'm seeing little girls being raped and forced to marry at such a young age. It bothers me as a human being. That's why this should affect every person that hears this story. Every person that hears this story should be outraged. That's why there needs to be more awareness in order to change what's going on in these countries. Women should have the same rights as men. I don't believe women should be treated like animals. Women should be treated like human beings. And the fact that they're forcing children to marry pedophiles is absolutely insane. The link is in the description box. Leave a comment, rate, and subscribe.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا فيكم، وأنا أشكر مختار الشرفي والأستاذة أمل، وأنا أشكر كل الصحفيين وأشكركم أنتم. أنا صح إنني هربت من أهلي، صح أنا ما عندي شيء عندهم، خلاص أنا أعيش عند عمي. إيش براءة الطفولة؟ إيش ذنب الأطفال من تتزوجون كذا؟ يعني مثلا أنا شغلتي صح، بس بعض الأطفال براءتهم ما يحلوا مشكلتهم، يمكن يموتوا، يمكن ينتحروا، يمكن يفعلوا اللي براسهم، لأنهم أطفال ما يدرون في حاجة، يعني عندهم ما تعلموش ولا درسوا ولا حاجة. يعني إيش ذنبنا إحنا؟ مش الوحيدة، يعني يمكن كل الأطفال. في ناس كثير، بعض الأطفال يعني دبسوا بنفسهم بالبحر مع الباقي. يعني إيش البراءة هذه؟ هذه ما هي براءة. صح إنني هربت من عند عمي. عمي ما كانش موجود، فأني اتصلت لعبد الجبار يجيبني. عبد الجبار جاب لي بنت وسافرت أنا إياها لجديدة. عمي لما عرف بالموضوع أجاني، وكمان أمي بلغت علينا الشرطة. أنا عمري 11 سنة وتشتي تزوجني. يعني ما فيش حياة، ما فيش تعليم، ما فيش قوة، ما فيش بين قلبهم رحمة. إيش هذه التربية معاهم؟ الموت أرحم لي، إنني أموت ولا أبقى. أنا أفضل أن أكون عند عمي ولا أفضل عندهم. يقتلوني، يهددوني، يغلوني إذا رحت عند عمك بالنقطة. يعني إيش هذا؟ إيش تهديد؟ يهددوا الأطفال. يرضيكم زيي أنا كذا؟ يزولوني؟ يرضيكم؟ وكمان أنا عادي، القتل عندي عادي، ولا أعيش عندهم ولا أعيش عندهم. قتلوا أحلامنا، قتلوا كل شيء اللي فينا، يعني ما باقي. هذه ما هي عاد تربية، هذه غدناها إجرام. خالتي وهي خالتي عمرها 13 سنة، فعلت سنة مع زوجها وقبت الغاز وتروش الطب وماتت. يعني كان يشل الحدايد من الحدايد، ويسكر وبينه مرض وبينه كل شيء. يعني يرضيكم إنني أتزوج؟ يرضيكم؟ يا أم اقنعي مني، يا أهلي اقنعوني، أنا ما أشتيكمش، خلاص دمرتوا أحلامي كلها، دمرتوها.
And you and we sit behind our chairs, our computers, our homes, our flair, for not seeing the ever-present threat of a little child, 5 years old, and her death. It takes a moment for you to realize that we all have our sins and our